it's your guy DJ MayDay, and we're out here in the street of New York in Manhattan, and I wanted to find out more about dreams. What's a dream?
I have no idea. It's movies when I sleep.
What?
I dream every time I go to sleep, and it's a mix of things.
Every night?
Every night.
How much of your dream do you remember?
I have no idea because I could fall asleep for like 5 minutes and I feel like it's been hours, so I don't know. They're just general, like everyday dreams. They can be crazy. They can, I could be having a dream about, my mom, but it's the mailman, and, but I know that's my mom, So it's stuff like things get switched around like that.
Do you ever have nightmares?
I do.
And
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Not specifically the details of the nightmare, but typically when do you have the nightmare? Are you having a bad day that leads to a nightmare?
The only time I have nightmares is the first, I meditate, so sometimes I fall off from meditation. And when I start meditating, it's kind of like when you first exercise and your muscles are sore. That's when I have nightmares. When I first start, that first week of meditation, even into the second week, I have nightmares.
So could you explain what sleep paralysis is to you? And
To me, it is a feeling of pressure on my chest, like I'm being pressed down in the bed. It's a sensation of pins and needles. Like I can only move my eyes, and sometimes I'll hear sounds that aren't there. I'll see things, like I feel like I'm dreaming, but I'm seeing them outside in the room.
how long does that paralysis last?
That's another thing I don't know. It feels like a few minutes, but sometimes it can be an hour or two.
Of like paralysis, like you can't get up, or you're awake but you can't get up?
It goes in and out. Like I go into somewhat of a lucid dream. I don't know if you're familiar with lucid dreams. Like it's...
No, explain. I don't know what a lucid dream is.
A lucid dream is where, so I feel the pressure, and if I struggle against it, or if I don't struggle against it, either way, I can move into dreaming lucidly. So it's like I can control what's going on in the dream, or I know what's around the corner, or I can fly, or I can,
So you're a little more conscious in the dream?
You are more conscious. Certain things, even if I'm not having paralysis, and I have a lucid dream, little things will trigger me to wake up within my dream, like small things. Like I was in a dream once, and I had on a pair of shoes that I hadn't worn since I was 13. And I was like, wait a minute. But like dinosaur walking through my room, totally normal. That doesn't wake me up.
A lot of ancient cultures believe that dreams are either they can predict the future or commune with the dead, or like, what do you think of, like, kind of how the ancient world of thought of dreams? I mean, we've all heard of it, right? Like,
Right.
Oh, you dreamt that must mean something. Or if you dreamt about like broken teeth, that means someone's gonna die. I mean, that's what I always heard in my
Right,
life.
right.
So like,
Fish, someone's pregnant.
right.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe in any of that? Is there any magic, let's say, to dreams? Or is it the unconscious mind just playing on this?
I don't believe that stuff. I understand how people can believe in it. I used to, for sure, but in terms of the communing with the dead, I understand that. Recently, both my parents passed away, and I see them in my dreams, and I become lucid when they do things that are out of character. So then I start asking them questions, and I'm like, hey, how are you here? Like, and they always, sidestep the question. They're like, hey, you want a cup of tea? You want to do them like, hey, Mom, wait. And then I usually wake up because...
But what is your take from that? Is that just...
My take is I feel like
where's that
it's...
coming from, if you had to guess?
I think it's me projecting her, my missing her. And, when either one of my parents or any of my cousins, when they show up, I think it's me missing them, and that normal feeling of having them around for years, right? It's only been a couple years since they've been gone, so I think my brain wants to, like, wait a minute, people are missing. They need to be in here with
Trying
me.
to bring them back.
Yeah. So I can understand why, people feel like they are communing with the dead, which I think I am in a way, because who is my mother? She's really just someone that has been in my mind. She was here, but I also made her up when she was at home and I was at home. So.
That's true. That's true. Wow, I never thought about it. Well, thank you for talking with us on Six String Therapy.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. I love the show, by the way. I've been watching.
Bye.
All right.
Hello, welcome to Six String Therapy. I'm your ding dong DJ MayDay.
I'm your favorite therapist, Professor S, otherwise known as Stephen Welch, Psychotherapy to the Stars.
Yes, and
Today this is my co-host, DJ MayDay.
That's right, DJ MayDay in the house.
Get with it.
We were a little sketchy about today. Today's going to be just like a little bit more theories. Today we're going to talk about
Theories.
Yeah, I feel like it's theories.
Okay.
I mean, you tell me what you think.
From your point of view, it's probably theories.
Right.
I'm talking facts.
All right. That's what we're going to do.
So we're talking about sleep, right? Sleep and dreams.
We're talking about sleep and dreams.
Right.
So I just, once again, like I love to do, is frame the subject. I'm going to let him do that for me, do the square for me. Yes. Mm-hmm. So according to Health Essentials, the Cleveland Clinic, what are dreams? Dreams themselves are a little less mysterious. Dreams are mental imagery or activity that occur when you sleep. You can dream at any stage of sleep, but your most vivid dreams typically occur in rapid eye movement sleep, or REM, R-E-M, sleep. That's the period of sleep when your brain is highly active. Your eyes move rapidly behind your closed eyes, and you have temporary loss of muscle tone. So that's a lot going on. We've all dreamed, right? Like dreaming.
Dogs dream too.
Yeah,
You seen shit,
yeah, I've seen my
running in
dog
place.
on his side, like trying to run. You know what I mean, and howling and shit. So, so we've all experienced this dream, but yet it's still a huge mystery, and it's not like substantiated by science,
Right.
or religion or anything. So, what is it? Like me personally, I had a super vivid dream. Like it was a dream about when I was in college, when I was away. I went
Was
away
that when
for
you were
a
in
semester.
Italy?
Yes,
Was
I
that
was
when
in
you were
Italy
in
for a semester, and it was all the fun I was having, right, that I had, but I replaced the people that I was having fun with people that I currently am surrounded by. Does that make sense?
Clarify, please.
Okay, so like someone from work from the last 2 years
Yes.
was there in Italy with me. You know what I
That
mean?
type of person, you mean? Or the person themselves?
The person themselves
Oh,
in my
okay.
dream was with
Oh,
me.
when
So
you
I
do-
was replacing people
Gotcha.
in my dream
Yes,
with
yes.
newer people.
Yes.
And it got me thinking, like, is it like those memories are so, because I went to school a little ways back. Are those memories so far back? Are they on the server of my brain and not at the front? And the newer people are at the front of my brain, and I just interjected them into my old dream? I have no idea. But it got me thinking, like, what is that all about? How is the mind processing all that? And
It's kind of hard. I mean, I remember when I was doing the research, like I mentioned before, there was so much information about dream interpretation all the way back to Socrates and I mean, just so many, the research. And like you said, there's no like specific,
right.
thing.
There's no concrete
There
anything.
was a gentleman named Carl Jung. Carl Jung was a psychologist who talked a lot about the what do you call it? He talked about there's what they call the collective unconsciousness. The collective unconsciousness is there are these themes that happen in every culture, every state of the human mind. There's a collective unconscious, and we can have a similar experience in this collective Collective unconsciousness. Unfortunately, I'm not explaining it well because I'm not as versed in it. But Carl Jung is a psychologist that had a lot to do with how like psychotherapy is organized, dream interpretation. A lot of his teachings are around the mind and understanding the mind. So the collective unconsciousness is one of those. Maybe you could put a description in the below so that
For
folks
sure.
can kind of read about
We'll
that.
definitely put some more information in there. But it's always like we've all experienced this. We've all experienced this. That's one thing we all experience. And Native peoples also have their theories. It's a connection to the spirit world. It's communication with the afterlife. So they have their own theories, unsubstantiated, more or less, But
But wouldn't like ayahuasca and peyote, even though it's not about dreams, but it's an altered state.
It's an altered
of
state,
consciousness that opens oneself up to visions and interpretation of. I guess it's almost like a dreamlike state.
right, but that's like
Kind
psychedelics. That's like a whole
Psychedelics. It's another subject.
Yeah, it's a
matter
whole nother
completely.
subject, but it may be connected. Who knows, right?
In some ways,
So
I
it's kind of the unconscious mind at work, and like I said, I had that dream, and I started thinking back on like all the dreams I've had. Not all the dreams, but the ones that I remember. We all have landmark dreams and memories, and a pattern that I did notice was that if I was stressed out and unhappy, I would have negative dreams. I had dreams that I remember the only one time I ever had a dream that I died in. You know what I mean? I literally got shot and I ran to someone's house and I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I'm wiping off the blood and I'm like, I don't feel so good. And then boom, my eyes closed and I woke up.
Wow.
So that was really scary. And it was kind of a low point in my life. And compare that to like high points in my life. And when I was young, I was having action adventure dreams and all the things that they meant and what they meant. And, I think the amount of sleep too does have an
Yes.
effect on how you think and feel.
Absolutely. And just to go back to what you were saying, like the two that really stood out for me are dreams where I'm naked
Whoa.
and the one where I'm flying. Like those are things that I kind of remember
Flying
as kind of
dreams.
great, but the flying dreams I love. The nakedness is a little bit much, but But anyway, sleep.
I mean, no context, no nothing. We're not
No,
gonna
there's
just gonna
no
let that go.
context.
We're
No,
just gonna let
there's
that
no
go. Okay,
context.
all right.
They're just very interesting. And then when I was doing the research on dreams, which was way too many things, there were some interpretations of what being naked, flying. If you dream about boxes, if you dream about falling, there were a lot of things like that. But it was just so much information out there. So just to kind of pivot a little bit about sleep. There was one study in 2009 where there was 40% of the people acknowledged like nodding off certain times during the day, multiple times during the day, and 35% were people that had less than 7 hours of sleep, and there's about 5% of people who had car accidents as a result of sleeping, what they call drowsy driving.
Oh my God, I have a
And-
nightmare scenario on that.
And the stats was, at least in 2009, 1,600 people actually die as a result
Holy
of
shit.
drowsy driving.
That's
And
actually happened to me.
That's a 2009 study.
Can I just one
Yeah,
time I
jump
was
in.
driving I was driving all night and I was almost home and I wasn't drinking or anything. There was nothing funny. I was just really tired, and I dozed off. It was a big, 4-lane highway, right? And I was on the right side driving really fast, on the left side rather, driving fast so I can get to where I'm going. I dozed off. I wound up on the right side. The thing that woke me up was those little grippers on the side of the road
that vibrate the car.
That vibrate the
Yeah,
car.
little bumps.
That shit woke me up.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, I almost killed the whole family.
Yeah, I've had close calls as well. Did you want to say anything else?
No. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So one of the other things is that kids really require like 9 to 10 hours, and adults 7 to 8 hours. I know for me, I am not getting that kind of sleep. And one of the things that when I was doing the research was also that the screen time on our laptops and phone and so on, that it sends a message to the brain that it's not time to sleep. So folks can be on the, I hear, in my practice, kids being on their phone like 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, having to go to high school like that morning. And so it's really a battle. But that's one of the things that was came up in the reading, that's what you're sending to the brain. It's not time to sleep.
And that's another thing. Like sometimes I go check on the girls when they're sleeping, and I go check on them, and they're sleeping on their side, so I don't think anything of it. But now I got into the habit of walking around to see, and it turns out they're sleeping with their phone right up against their faces, watching something. So it's like, oh my God,
So they're not really sleeping.
they're not sleeping.
They're not sleeping. Okay.
And I'm walking by thinking they're sleeping. So, I mean, that's
well,
not good.
mine is almost worse because I'll fall asleep with the thing on, right?
Oh,
so
you?
if I'm watching, yes.
Don't tell me you watching Judge Judy.
Judge Judy,
you gotta
man.
put the
She
Judge Judy down.
Keeps me out all night talking all that stuff.
What'd you call her before?
Judge Judy? What did I call her before?
I don't know. Your boo.
My boo? Hey, she's kind of like my boo. I don't know. It's my boo boo.
No, Boo Coon.
Boon Coon,
Boon
right?
Coon.
And you had an issue with me saying coon. Like I said,
Well,
bro, look it up.
I don't
We
know.
had to go to the Urban Dictionary so he could understand what Boon Coon is.
I never heard it. That just sounded wild to me.
Hey, yo, that's why I'm here, bro. And so when you don't get a lot of sleep, it really puts you at risk for many emotional and physical illnesses. So, for example, strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, hypertension. Because when you sleep, it releases growth hormone, and that growth hormone stabilizes a lot of our immune system, our body functioning. So when you're not sleeping properly, growth hormone is not being released appropriately, and it could set you up for a lot of medical problems. And one of the so I was watching this one thing on YouTube, and it was a British. It was like a some part of England. It was like the
BBC?
What do they call them, the National Health Service.
Oh, okay.
That's like their medical, national medical care. And basically, the bottom line was that our sleep is the foundation to our physical and emotional well-being. So that covers really like everything. So if we're not sleeping, we're more grumpy. We're not very nice, in the morning, like how you may treat another person. So all of those things they're all as a result of not getting enough sleep. And I have to admit that sometimes I could be in the middle of the day because I'm working from home. And in the middle of the day, I could just like nod off because maybe I didn't sleep a lot. And I think it also affects motivation, and it affects like worry. Like you might tend to worry more, feel more anxious. That's another thing that when you don't get enough sleep, that's what also gets manifested.
From not sleeping?
From not sleeping.
Okay.
From not getting
It almost feels
hours of
like
sleep.
that worry and anxiety can lead to not sleeping, and not sleeping can also lead
Absolutely.
to worry
It
and
becomes
anxiety.
a vicious cycle. And
Yeah.
so again, the need to sleep, and also the need to kind of wind down. So like your laptop goes off maybe an hour before you go to bed. You know what I mean? So winding down was also a huge part of sleep. So you're letting your body know I'm powering down. So that's what I got for sleep, I think.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see, like, what are the best ways to kind of try to get to sleep. Like, I've heard a lot of things. Like, some people take melatonin religiously. Like, they can't even go to sleep until they take melatonin.
Periodically, I would take a melatonin.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess it works for some people. But what are the things that we can do to kind of try to find sleep? You know what I mean? I'm super curious about that. And maybe you could talk while I see what there is.
Okay, like da 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 da. I should do a tap dance. But I mean, I'll put myself out there. I mean, I know it keeps talking about myself, but sometimes your own behaviors can be like representative of other people's experience. I know for me, again, working from home, it's really changed how I sleep, and my routine is very, very different. And sometimes I can focus very well, and other times I have to take more breaks because I think what I say, the periodic nodding, I find that happens as a result more so because I work from home, and so my patterns are not as the boundaries are not as tight, and the way I move and everything. So if the sofa is right there, I may just sit on the sofa, may doze off just like that. But if I was in the clinic, there's no way that's going to happen. But I'm always I'm very clear about when I'm meeting with a client that is not even an issue. So, but yeah, sleep is really important.
Well, like we always try to do, we try to see if there's actionable things that we can, um, you know, help us,
Concrete steps.
concrete
Yeah,
steps to
yeah.
take to help us, like, in this case, sleep. So some of the things that we found were pretty interesting. I'm just going to go through some of them briefly, and I'll leave some of these things, most of these things in the description below, so you guys can check it out and evaluate for yourself. Lower the temperature, which is interesting. Like lowering the temperature helps you sleep a little better. So that's a good one. There's breathing techniques and breathing methods to help you kind of get to sleep. And again, it's a little involved, so I'll leave it all in the description. Get on a schedule. I think that's like a huge thing
Exactly.
too.
Yep.
Like really, like, all right, now it's time to turn off the TV, turn off the lights, and lay in bed. You know what I mean?
Which is really hard with social media because folks get really caught up in that.
Right, and it just keeps you up. This is an interesting one. Experience both daylight and darkness. So if you're, let's say, working from home like you do, you know what I mean? Try to experience daylight. I would say go outside. That's that's the thing I'm feeling. So practice yoga and meditation and mindfulness is always good in any way. Avoid looking at your clock, which is a curious one. It's. I'm just going to read this one because this is one I kind of want to explore. It's normal to wake up in the middle of the night. However, the inability to fall back asleep can ruin a good night's rest. So, in other words, don't always constantly look at the clock and see what you're missing, the sleep you're missing.
right.
So that's what I gathered from this one. Avoid napping during the day. What we were just talking about.
Hey, at least I'm conscious of it, and at least I am more, rather than falling asleep on the couch, like actually put my body down, like lay down. And there's a difference between nodding and a power nap. So sometimes it's a power nap, but if I'm not sleeping well, then it's more of a sleep deprivation issue, which is not healthy.
Watch what and when you eat. So timing, I think, is like the big takeaway from that one.
And also, if you don't sleep well, going back to the growth hormone, that can contribute to weight gain if you're not sleeping properly. So that's another thing.
There's another one that you were talking about, turning off all electronics.
Yes.
I think that those are just light sensors that just tell your body to stay up.
What else you got, sir?
Practice writing before bed, it says here, too. So that's another one. That's another really good one. Limit the caffeine and drinking
big one,
a soothing beverage. I guess warm cup of milk, that kind of thing, or maybe a decaffeinated tea. So you don't.
So limit caffeine and drink smooth. Okay, yeah. So like a glass of milk, as they used to do in the past, warm milk.
This is an interesting one. Adjust your sleep positions. Good quality sleep may depend on your body position during the night.
I think also like those sleep / meditation things they have on YouTube or sometimes an app that kind of talks to you about, you're going to sleep well, the stressors of the day are leaving your body, like different, and sometimes those affirmations or those app kind of stories, if I can use that language. I mean, these could be like for 3 hours, but it takes you to sleep. You will not stay awake through like a 45 to 60-minute one of these things. It'll routinely put you asleep, and that's been my experience.
Yeah, so I mean, there are actionable things. Again, once again, like we always say, like you have to get, actively involved in your wellness. I mean, that's the thing we always agree upon. It's not going to happen by itself, whether you see a therapist or not. You have to actively seek out your wellness, and I think these are simple things that you can do. Just look up, ways to kind of better your sleep and have better dreams. And
Absolutely, and just to piggyback on what you said, because I think I'm actually going to say the same thing, but what we're saying is under the umbrella of wellness, mental wellness, right? This is just one other aspect that we're just kind of emphasizing. Oh my God,
that's okay.
So that those of you that are watching, can really look at different ways to take care of yourself, and this, sleeping and dreams is all part of that.
Yeah. So, I think that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah, I'm DJ MayDay,
I'm Professor S.
and thank you for listening to Six Train Therapy.
Thank you, and subscribe, and tell a friend,
comment, and like.
Send us money. What else do we get? Oh no, we
I
can't
would-
do that. Hopefully, we get large enough that we can be monetized one day. Well, forget about the money part, but please listen, comment. We want to improve how we're doing our podcast. So please, if you can, just take a moment to give us some feedback.
Right. And peace.
We're out.